After a single look at a human, the alien girl's instincts take over. The sky of the alien world was dark and wide, filled with glowing rivers of light that moved across the stars like living things. The air shimmered with soft waves of silver mist, and the tall crystal trees sang with quiet tones under the wind. Near the edge of the forest stood a figure. Her name was Lena. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were deep violet, like twilight. She was young among her kind, curious, and restless, and her heart longed for the unknown night. The sky tore open above her world. Strange fire fell from the clouds and struck the far plain with a sound that rolled through the air like thunder. Lena ran toward it, her bare feet silent on the glowing grass. The wind pushed against her face, and her heart beat fast with fear and wonder. When she reached the crash site, she saw smoke rising from twisted metal, something unlike anything her world had ever seen. From the broken shell of that strange thing, a figure climbed out. It was tall and strong, covered in rough fabric and armor. The face was soft, pale, with short hair, and eyes that reflected light like the ocean. It was a human. His name was Claire. He looked around, dazed, confused. Trying to breathe in the thin alien air, he fell to his knees, gasping, his body weak from the Felina stepped closer. She felt something stirred deep inside her, something wild and old, like a forgotten song. It was her instinct, the call of her species. To protect, to connect with what was strange yet alive. She did not understand it, but it burned in her chest. She reached out her hand and touched the human. His skin was warm, soft, unlike the crystal life of her world. Claire looked up. His eyes met hers, and for a long moment they only stared. The silence between them was full of meaning, though neither spoke the same tongue. Lena helped him stand, guiding him toward the glowing forest. Each step felt unreal. Her people never touched outsiders. They feared what came from beyond the stars, but she felt no fear, only a deep pull toward him. Forest whispered around them, its lights changing color, as if watching. Lena led Claire to a hidden cave where the air was thick with healing mist. She gave him water from a crystal leaf, and he drank slowly, his breath steadying, his hands trembling. He tried to speak, but the sounds meant nothing to her yet. The tone, the rhythm, the soft rise of his voice made her feel calm, safe in a way she could not name. Days passed. Claire stayed with her. His ship was broken beyond repair. He built small fires, learned to eat the fruit of her land. She watched him move, his body strong, his eyes filled with quiet sadness and strength. She learned his gestures, his signs, his way of smiling at the small wonders of her world. Soon they began to understand each other, not with words, but with the simple truth of shared lefion. Mourning soldiers from her people came. They had seen the crash. Their armor shone like glass, and their voices were sharp. They called for her to step away from the creature. They called it a danger, a sickness from the dark beyond. But Lena stood between them and Claire. She raised her hand, and her voice, steady and brave, said no. Though they could not understand, her heart spoke for her. Her instincts were no longer wild. They had become her choices. Soldiers hesitated. They saw something in her eyes, something they did not know, a bond that crossed the line between their kind and his. Then the air shook. A second ship appeared from the sky. This one from Claire's people. The ground trembled as it landed. Soldiers poured out their suits, shining bright weapons ready. The two sides faced each other across the glowing field. Fear and tension burned in the air. Lena stood in the middle, her arms wide, her eyes bright with tears. She turned to Claire. He nodded slowly and stepped beside her. Together, they faced both sides. The alien wind howled. The mist rose around them, turning the light soft and silver. The soldiers waited, then lowered their weapons. One by one, the silence that followed was heavy. Then peaceful time moved on. The humans and her people began to talk, began to learn from each other. They shared water, air, and light. Lena and Claire became symbols of what could be built when fear was not stronger than hope. She stayed with him, teaching him the ways of her world, and he told her stories of earth, of oceans and mountains, and the sound of raining. The quiet nights they would sit by the river of light, watching the stars shift and move above, their heads, their hands close. But not touching between them was something greater than touch. It was the first bridge between two worlds, the beginning of a story that would echo through the ages, a story that began with one look and one instinct that changed everything.